I never thought I'd end up in a billionaire's penthouse at 2 a.m., watching him cry into a $10,000 bottle of whiskey. Especially not someone like me. Not a guy who folds laundry at the local hotel, scrubbing towels and chasing tips from careless guests. But that's exactly what happened. And it started with a door I wasn't supposed to open. Let me back up. People always assume stories like these begin with wealth, glamour, scandal. But this one, it began with a mop bucket, a dead elevator, and one very pissed off concierge. I worked the night shift at Halcyon Towers. That's the kind of place where the rent's so high, even the elevators ride smoother than your car. Except that night, they didn't. Use the service elevator, barked the front desk manager, tossing me a master keycard like I was supposed to care that some rich idiot left a spill in the penthouse hallway. I'd just clocked out. My back was screaming. I wanted nothing more than to go home, eat cheap noodles, and pass out. But whatever. I needed the hours, so I pushed my cart into the elevator, not knowing I was heading straight into a man's private collapse. Floor 47, penthouse, top of the world. The hallway was quiet. No staff, no noise, just the kind of eerie silence that makes your gut whisper, "You're not supposed to be here." I walked toward the mess. There was spilled scotch near the door, crystal glass shattered like someone had thrown it. Luxury chaos. I bent down to clean when suddenly the door creaked open. I froze. From the darkness inside, a voice slurred, "Don't clean it. Come in, now. Listen, if you've ever been on the bottom rung of life, you know one thing. You don't just go in when someone rich tells you to. You nod, you apologize, you run." But something about his voice stopped me. It wasn't anger. It wasn't drunken bravado. It was hollow, like he had nothing left to lose. So I stepped inside. Dim lights, blinds half drawn, liquor bottles lining the counter like trophies from a losing war. And there he was, Elias Mercer, the man whose face had been plastered on Forbes, Wall Street Journal, even a Netflix documentary I half-watched during laundry. Except tonight, he looked nothing like the billionaire genius the world admired. He was slouched in a chair, shirt half unbuttoned, tie tossed like a noose across the floor, eyes bloodshot, cheeks hollow, hands trembling as he poured another drink he didn't need. He didn't even look at me when he muttered, "Everyone leaves. You going to leave too?" I didn't say anything, just stood there, holding my mop like an idiot. He turned, finally, his eyes met mine, and I swear, they weren't drunk, they were haunted. "Sit," he said, not like an order, like a plead, so I did. "You know what today is?" I shook my head. He laughed bitter, sharp like glass cracking under pressure. "It's the anniversary of the day my brother died, the day I sold my soul to a boardroom full of cowards." I didn't know what to say. What do you say to a billionaire unraveling in front of you? So I said the dumbest thing possible. Double quotes. "That sucks, man." He blinked. Then, for some reason, he laughed, not the bitter kind this time. Real laughter. Raw, unexpected. "You're the first honest person I've talked to in months." And just like that, the door closed behind me, and I was in. Not just in the penthouse, in his head, in his storm. In a night that would change both of us forever. Asterisk. I don't know how long. I sat there, the whiskey between us untouched, the silence getting more honest by the minute. He didn't offer me a drink, and I didn't ask for one. I wasn't there to drink, I was there to listen. "You ever lose someone you actually liked?" Elias finally asked, staring at the skyline like it owed him something. I shrugged. "My dog died when I was 10. Haven't trusted anyone since." He chuckled. "That explains a lot." But then his face changed. "My brother, Leo, was the only good thing I didn't ruin." He paused. "Until I did." I leaned in, not because I cared about the billionaire's sob story, but because something about the way he said ruin sounded like he meant it, like it had claws. "He was younger," Elias said, "smarter, gentler, the kind of guy who'd give a stranger his coat even if he was freezing." I nodded slowly. "He sounds nothing like you." He laughed again. "Exactly. Turns out, Leo was the co-founder of the company. The soul behind the suits, the guy who coded their first software in a basement, while Elias was pitching to sharks and selling dreams to investors. And when the company went public, Leo didn't show up at the bell ceremony. He was in the ground by then," Elias said. "I didn't ask how. Didn't need to. You can tell when someone's carrying a death they never made peace with. But he told me anyway. He took something he shouldn't have. What? I asked. Responsibility for my mistake. Apparently, a data breach nearly tanked the company 2 years ago. Elias made the call to bury it. Push it under PR. Leo wanted transparency. The board demanded blood. Someone had to fall. And Elias let it be him. He signed the damn confession. Elias whispered. I watched him walk out of the courtroom, thinking it was just a slap on the wrist. It wasn't. He overdosed 3 days later. Silence. Heavy. Bitter. Cold. Didn't know what to say. So I said the only honest thing I had left. And you've been trying to drink him back ever since. He nodded once. Eyes glassy. Jaw clenched. He wasn't crying. Not yet. But the cracks were forming. Why am I telling you this? He asked suddenly. Because I don't work for you, I said. I'm not trying to fix you or spin your story. I don't even like you. He laughed. Good. We sat there for hours. At some point he asked my name. I told him, Mason. No fancy last name, no business card, just Mason. A guy with a janitor's badge and a half-eaten granola bar in his pocket. He didn't care. In fact, I think he liked it better that way. Flashback. Elias 2 years earlier. Elias Mercer walks into a boardroom full of corporate wolves. Leo's laptop is open, his resignation letter already typed. Elias pauses, says nothing. Signs nothing, just walks away while his brother absorbs the bullet. Later that night, he receives a voicemail from Leo. You always said you'd be the face of the company. I just didn't think I'd have to disappear for that to happen. Good luck, big brother. Don't forget to sleep once in a while. The message ends. It's the last one he ever gets. Back to present, by 4 a.m. He looked like he hadn't slept in years. He leaned his head back and muttered, You're still here. Guess so. I'm not paying you. I'd be offended if you did. Both chuckled. It was the first sound in hours that didn't hurt. Then he stood up, wobbled, almost fell. I caught his arm, and that's when it happened. He looked at me, truly looked, and said, Don't go yet. He didn't mean the night. He meant life. He meant this planet. He meant, don't disappear like he did. And something in me cracked, because I'd spent so much time feeling invisible. And now, for the first time, someone actually saw me. Even if he was a billionaire with a bruised soul and 100 bad decisions, we weren't so different after all. I didn't expect to return the next night. Actually, I didn't expect him to ask me to. But I guess when someone sees you at your worst, when you've said things you've never said aloud, it's hard to just forget that. And maybe that's why, 24 hours later, I was back in that penthouse. Only this time, the door didn't creak open. It swung open like he'd been waiting. Hey, he said, like we were old friends. Like we hadn't just spent a night drowning in silence and confession. Looked better. Cleaner shirt. No glass on the floor. The liquor bottles had vanished. Still tired, but calmer, like he'd exhaled for the first time in a long time. We didn't talk much at first. He made tea, actual tea, not whiskey in a mug pretending to be. We sat, window open, the city humming beneath us like a lullaby, and after a while, he asked, Why'd you come back? I shrugged. Maybe I wanted to see if you were real, or just another headline waiting to happen. He smiled. Small. Sad. Real. Most people want me for something. I don't want anything, I said. He looked at me. Exactly. I wish I could say that was the turning point, the magical moment he started healing and never looked back. But life isn't a fairy tale, and pain doesn't leave. Just because you open a window. 3 days later, the world found out. A reporter caught wind of a billionaire going off the rails. Someone in the building talked, and suddenly, we were a story. His story. My face blurred in the background. I walked into work the next night and my badge didn't work. Security stopped me. Cold stares, raised eyebrows. You've been flagged. Mr. Mercer's team requested restricted access. It felt like a slap. I didn't even fight it. Just turned around. But as I reached the front doors, the elevator dinged and there he was. Elias Mercer. Suit. Eyes focused. Calm as ice. He looked at the guards and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, He stays. I need him. The room went silent. People stared like they were watching a ghost walk through fire. He didn't even flinch, just walked past them like it was nothing. Like I wasn't nothing. We rode the elevator in silence. At the top, he turned to me and said, They think I've lost it. But I've never seen things more clearly. He paused. You reminded me who I used to be before the suits. before the blood on my hands. That night, he didn't drink. We talked, laughed, argued. He showed me pictures of Leo, told me stories about their childhood, how they'd make fake websites together when they were 14, how they'd stay up late playing stupid indie games and dreaming of building something real. And at one point, his voice broke. Just a little. I didn't protect him. He protected me. I reached across the table. Then live in a way that would make him proud. He nodded, didn't speak, but something shifted. Weeks passed. No more tabloid articles, no more bottles clinking behind blinds. He started going back to meetings, started smiling, even hired a therapist. Publicly, the media turned it into a redemption arc. They called it the rebuild of Elias Mercer. But I knew better. This wasn't a rebuild, this was a resurrection. And me, I wasn't a janitor anymore. He offered me a job, not out of pity. I need someone who doesn't care about titles, just truth. I said no, at first. But then he said, you were there when I broke. Be there when I rebuild. So I said, yes, I still clean sometimes, not floors, just spaces people forget to care about. I manage employee wellness now. Funny, right? A guy who couldn't afford therapy, now making sure other people don't break like Elias did. 1 year later, we stand on a stage. A memorial fund in Leo's name. Elias reads a speech, strong, steady, no trembling hands. He looks over at me once, just once. That's all it takes. I nod. He smiles. And that is how I became the only persona Billionaire let in on his worst night. Not because I had power. Or money, or some magic words, but because I stayed. And sometimes, that's the only thing people need.